Hi YouTube, it's me Danny. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny and I make vlogs about travel, aviation, spirituality, feminine energy and all things that I'm passionate in. Today's video is a little impromptu. I didn't really plan to record something like this, but I felt inspired to do so just because maybe me speaking about the following topic might help other people that are experiencing the same thing that I did or perhaps will experience in the future. And what I'm going to discuss today is how I actually made the transition from being all about aviation and changing my interests to do more with spirituality, and really just talking about my spiritual awakening, which happened in 2020. And basically 2020 was a year for that a lot of people had their spiritual awakening. I think for everyone 2020 was a hard year. It was a year of growth. It was a year of just confusion, and everything that we knew kind of got turned around during that global pandemic. And for me particularly during that time, it was really challenging because up until then I was always on the go. I was traveling, I was flying, and I didn't really think much about my life and where I was going. And basically when COVID happened, I was pretty much forced to stop flying because, you know, the whole aviation industry just collapsed all of a sudden. And I was lucky to keep my job at Emirates, but we were grounded for at least 4 months, if not longer. And that meant that I was fortunate enough to not have to pay for my accommodation, but I wasn't flying at all. I wasn't working, so I was literally just at home for months, just waiting and seeing if the world was going to return back to normal. And in the beginning it was awesome. I was like, yes, this is a holiday. I got into all of these different activities, so I got back into reading. I always loved reading, so I had time to read again. I started painting at home, so I started doing all these activities at home, which was great because I learned that I have lots of hobbies, which I didn't know I had before COVID. And I even started a little baking business, which was awesome just to kind of fill my days. But as the months rolled by and there was no pickup nothing was changing, after a while, after not working for so long, I started to feel really down and just feeling really worthless. Like I was really confused about, where am I going? What's the point of my life? You know, what am I doing here? And I started asking all these questions and I was feeling really down about myself. And it was really challenging for me. I was really depressed for some time. And I think a lot of people can relate to what I'm saying now, because a lot of people lost their jobs during COVID. And like I said before, I wasn't one of them, but I still felt that emotional roller coaster where I wasn't sure if the aviation industry would pick up. So would I return back to my old life? Would I be able to still travel and live in Dubai? Or would I have to relocate back to Australia? Would I have to change careers? I was so unsure about what was going to happen, and this created like a lot of anxiety within me. I felt really down, and the way that I came out of it was by looking for answers to all these questions I had, like, what am I doing here? What's my purpose? And I got into personal development, so that was the beginning of it. And I think what was really happening, which I wasn't aware of, was I was starting to wake up spiritually. And I wasn't aware of it at the time, but something was altering within me. And I didn't know what it was, but there was a lot going on, I could feel. So I got into personal development. I started reading different books. I started listening to different podcasts and YouTube videos. I learned a lot about the body and the brain. I became a nerd when it came to neurology and biology and our hormones and you know, like the feel-good hormones like serotonin and dopamine, and how can I make myself happy. And I started learning ways that I could create happiness within me, and so I developed a morning routine which really helped. I started meditating, started practicing yoga every day, I was working out, I started journaling. I just became very conscious about how I was spending my time, especially when I'd wake up in the morning. You know, I was very intentional about how I started my day. And if you're curious about what a morning routine is and my morning routine during the pandemic, I'll link the video here so you can watch it. But basically that really helped me get through the pandemic. And once I got into the whole personal development and I was started to see that I was becoming stronger and more resilient, I kept following that path and I kept learning more and reading more and listening to more, and my mind was just opening and opening. And the further I went down the rabbit hole, the more I started asking more questions. I became even more curious. And I found that there was just something missing with the whole personal development industry. Like, I think it's great and I'm kind of heading in that direction at the moment. But for me personally, I felt like there was something more that wasn't being spoken about as much in personal development. Like, personal development is very much like science-based. And I was feeling a real spiritual calling. Like, I could feel that this wasn't just it, like there was something greater than us. There is this source or God or whatever you want to call it, this life force energy. I could feel that there was something greater. So again, I started like looking deeper into this and exploring. And my first instinct was to go back to the Catholic Church, which is what I was raised in. I have Italian background and I was raised Catholic. So I started getting into Christianity and I started reading the Bible, and I started, you know, listening to all these pastors and watching religious videos and really learning more about how I can be devout to God. And I started praying every day, and I really went down this path of religion, I suppose Christianity, and trying to find answers, trying to learn more about myself and why I'm here, what I'm doing. And then the more I went down that path, the more I was seeing that there was conflicts between the messages of God. I just felt like some things were just contradicting itself, and the whole religion, just something felt off to me. And as I continued to explore my spirituality, I felt really called to work with the divine feminine, the goddess, and that's kind of the path I'm walking down now. I love learning about women's history. I love learning about women empowerment, and I'm really getting into witches at the moment, and I'm learning more about that history. And the more I learn about the goddess and this divine feminine that's been suppressed for so many years, I found that really resonated with me, and it actually is almost the polar opposite. It goes against everything that's preached within the Catholic Church. And then so from there, I've done like a 180, and I literally will not consider myself religious anymore. I don't consider myself Catholic or Christian. I've completely gone off the whole religion path, and now I'm exploring. I don't even know where I'm going with all of this, but I just keep going a layer deeper and a layer deeper and a layer deeper in learning about spirituality, and I love it. And the thing I love about spirituality is you can kind of pick and choose what you want to explore. You can go with what feels good to you, and there's so many different like avenues or roads you can walk down with it. And for me, I'm really loving this divine feminine, which is why I talk a lot about feminine energy on my channel, and I will continue to do so in the future, because I feel very pulled towards the divine feminine and working with the goddess. So I will make lots of videos of that in future. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that where I'm at now is just kind of following my heart and following my intuition, and just, I don't even know where it's leading me, but I know that since I've started walking down this path of spirituality, I don't actually want to be a flight attendant anymore. And even though during the pandemic I was so scared to lose my job, it's funny how after I started delving deeper in who I am, like from within, I realized like I don't actually need this job anymore. Like this job is not even in alignment with who I am. The part of me that loved the job was the part that got to travel the world, and that part still exists within me. I still love to travel. I still love so much to travel, and I can't wait. I'm going on a holiday next February, so I'm so excited to get back to traveling the world again. But I realized that flying and aviation is actually just, it's not my path anymore, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do it, and I loved it while I did it. But now I'm growing towards a new adventure of a different kind. And maybe I still will get to travel the world doing what I'm doing, but I know that my passion is to follow spirituality and to learn more about myself, and hopefully help other people to learn more about themselves and come into their power, into their sovereignty, which is what I'm about. I'm really fascinated in manifesting and creating my external reality. You know, I love to practice magic and rituals and creating vision boards and learning about like past lives and my ancestors and learning about history and all these like mysteries of the world. And this is what I'm passionate in, and this is the path that I'm following. And I guess the thing that I wanted to kind of make this video about is to say that if you are someone who's like struggling, or you've been in a similar situation where you started questioning like, what am I doing? Like, you know, I don't know if I'm passionate about this job anymore. I don't really know which direction I'm going in life. Like, that's so okay. And if anything, that's such a blessing that you're even asking in these questions, because that means that your soul is evolving. Your soul is like ready to wake up, and it wants I think one of the first ways that you know that you're having a spiritual awakening is when you start asking these questions, because that's showing you that something within you is curious. It wants to learn more. It wants to explore. It wants to open its mind and see what else there is, you know. And I think it's so easy for us to get like stuck doing the same thing each day. And I was like that. Like when I was in Dubai, when I first moved there, I was just traveling. I was living this very fast-paced life, going out, just, I wasn't even conscious. I wasn't even aware of what I was doing. I was just literally just in this trance, really, of just like living this life that I wasn't even conscious in. And now, you know, I wouldn't say I'm completely, you know, I'm definitely not enlightened of any sort, but I'm on my path to waking up and becoming more aware and more conscious about what I'm doing, where I'm spending my time, where I'm putting my energy, and coming into contact with who I am really from within, and how can I create a life for myself that is really in alignment with who I am and my values and what I believe in and where I'm going in my life. So I guess that's what I wanted to share with you today. I don't know if that would be helpful of any sort, but I just felt called to speak about this because 2020 was just such a pivotal year in my life, and now the whole course of my life has changed, and I didn't think that I would be going down this path, but I am, and it feels so right to me. And I'm really excited about what I've got planned for 2023. but I'll leave that for another day. But yeah, so if you like what you see here, then let me know in the comments below if you, I don't know, if you felt this way before, if you've had a spiritual awakening, if you are having a spiritual awakening. I'd love to know, you know, any comments or questions you have below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That helps me out, that helps me to grow my channel. And until my next video, take care of yourself and have a magical week.